Hi everyone, we're going to factor and solve these 5 polynomials, and so let's go ahead and get started. On all these polynomials, the first thing we want to do is put them in standard form. So I'm going to move the 9x over by subtracting 9x from both sides. So you subtract the 9x, I'm going to put that there, add my 20, and that would be 0. And then you, anytime you have the quadratic, let's try to factor it. So the first term has to be x and x. Since it's a positive and that's a negative, they're both going to be negative. And I have a 9, and you can use your Ninja X thing. What two numbers multiply when you add them together give you a negative 9. And that would be negative 4 times negative 5. So that's 4 and 5. So our solution set is x is 4 and 5. And let's just remember what you're doing is you're setting, let me erase this real quick. You're setting each piece to 0. So you're saying x minus 4 equals 0 and x minus 5 equals 0. So when you solve for x, you get x equals 4, and on this one you get x equals 5. That's because if you plug in 4, you'd get 4 minus 4 times 4 minus 5. That would be 0 times negative 1, which equals 0, which is what we wanted. Or if you plug in 5, you'd get 5 minus 4 times 5 minus 5. And that would be 1 times 0, which equals 0 again. Okay, so that's basically why those solutions work. So the rest are going to be very similar. This one I'm going to put in standard form. So I'm going to subtract the 6x from both sides. That leaves 0 over here. And basically you can divide both of these by 6x. And you're not going to do that because we're factoring and we've got to get all the solutions. So instead of dividing, you're factoring it out. That's the difference. Factoring means you don't lose your divisor. Okay, so then you have 3x minus 1 equals 0. And again, I'm putting both pieces, this piece and this piece equals 0. So you have 6x equals 0. And you have 3x minus 1 equals 0. For the same reasons we did before. So in this case, this is easy. X equals 0. This one, you add 1 to both sides and divide both sides by 3. So our two solutions are 0 and 1/3. That's our solution set. Okay, the next one is another trinomial. So I'm going to move that 3 over to the left side by subtracting it. And that will be set to 0. Now these are a little harder because we don't know if this is going to be 4 and 1 or 2 and x. And I always recommend that when you first do this, go smaller. So we'll do 2x and x. And we need a 3 and 1. And this should be 2x. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 3 here and the 1 here. Since it's negative, that makes it even harder. We need a negative 4. So I'm going to make this negative because I get a negative 6 here. And put a positive here because remember you're doing outer inner. And that would give you a positive 2x. So basically what I'm saying is this. When you do your first term, we set that up. That's easy. And also our last. That part was easy. What's hard is the outer inner. So if you check the outer inner, there's your outer. That would be 2x. Here's your inner. That would be minus 6x. And that gives you negative 4x. And that's what we wanted here. Okay, let's do our little table. Here, I'm going to erase this. Save room. So here we go. We have 2x minus 3 equals 0, and 2x plus 1 equals 0. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and divide both sides by 2. So you get x equals 3/2. This one I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides, and divide both sides by 2. And there's your solution set. 3/2, comma, negative 1/2. Okay, the next one is another trinomial. So again, I start, I'm not going to use 8 and 1 for this. I usually go smaller. The closer they are together, the better. So 4 and 2 are pretty close. And I'm going to do 5 and 3. Since these are both positive, that's nice. I know that has to be positive. I need a 26. I know if I put a 5 here, I get a 20. And a 3 here, I get a 6. So that would be, if you did outer inner, you get 20x plus 6x, which gives you 26x. Okay, and we set this to 0. And you can have 4x plus 3 equals 0. And 2x plus 5 equals 0. So again, subtract the 3. You get 4x equals negative 3. Divide both sides by 4. You get negative 3/4. On this one, subtract 5 from both sides. And divide both sides by 2. Get negative 5/2. So your solution set is negative 3/4 and negative 5/2. Okay, on the last one, I'm going to group everything together and put this in standard form. So I'm going to write 6x cubed. I'm going to I'm going to subtract 2x squared from both sides, and I'm going to subtract the 47x from both sides. So I'm subtracting 2x squared and subtracting 47x. So that's going to give you negative 3x squared, and this will be negative 30x, and all this is going to just equal 0. Okay, I'm going to use my greatest common factor and factor out of 3x. All that means is basically I can divide each of these terms by 3x. All right, so that would leave us, if you divide this out, you get 2x squared minus x minus 10x equals 0. So when we factor this, we're going to get, let's see, 3x, and it's got to be a 2x and a x. Whoops, I'm trying to go too fast. All right, and an x. Now it's negative, and we have 5 and 3. So what I'm going to do is put 5 and 3. Let me try here. 5 and 3. Yeah, it's 5 and 2. So basically we got our first term. So this is 2x times x gives you 2x squared. And 5 times 2 is 10. One of these has to be negative. So I'm going to make, so I have a negative here. I think I'm going to make the 5 negative and this positive. So let's check it out. So this would be 4x for the outer, negative 5x for the inner. So that gives me negative x, and that's what we wanted here. So we set this as 0. Now we have 3 pieces here. We have 3x equals 0. 2x minus 5 equals 0. And x plus 2 equals 0. So these two are easy. This is x equals 0. And this one's x equals negative 2. You can just tell by looking. And this one, again, you're going to add 5 to both sides and divide both sides by 2. So our solution set is 0, 5/2, and -2. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.